Hey y'all, welcome to That Tennessee Feeling. I hope everybody's having a good week. I know it's been a couple weeks. It's cold again. I'm ready for spring to actually stay. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a fan of daylight savings time, so let's hope that they pass a bill to stop all that crap. It's really annoying, and I don't like it. Also, Happy Pie Day. I don't know about you guys if you're celebrating. I have not eaten a piece of pie yet today, but I guess I could eventually get there. My favorite's pecan, but I'm Southern, so that shouldn't surprise anybody. Thanks to everybody who's liked, subscribed, and followed, especially if you've snooped around on the social media pages, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you to all my listeners. Today, I'm going to do kind of a fun one for me. I'm going to bring in a special guest, and they're going to tell us about living in Tennessee. I'm not going to tell their age, but they have lived in Tennessee quite a while, and they've probably got some pretty interesting stories from growing up here. So I'm going to bring in Carolyn. Say hi.
Hi.
This is also my mom. So don't tell us your age. Just tell us where you were born.
Well, I was born in a small town near South Pittsburgh called Richard City. My parents had moved to Chattanooga, but my mother wanted to go back to her doctor, so I was actually born in Richard City, and my home then was in Chattanooga. And we lived, I was the second child born. I'm sure that they would like to have been a boy, but that's okay. They had a girl, and then later on they had another girl. So it was interesting growing up with two sisters. I can tell you that. It's not a dull moment.
No. So you grew up in Chattanooga. What's your first memory of Chattanooga?
Oh, my sister she's 3 years older than me, and she went to school next door. She just had to walk out the door, and the school was there.
I would hate that.
That was the first 3 years she went to school there, or first 2, I'm not sure, before she went to the one that I went to. But she would come home from school every day and sit me down, a 3-year-old, at the table and wouldn't let me get up till I learned everything she learned that day. She was definitely loved her teacher and thought she should bring me up to date with her. So, and I actually did love learning, so it wasn't all that bad.
And you had a head start when you finally went to school.
When I went to school, I could already read and ABCs and numbers, and they're just the only thing I found to do when I went to school. I liked to work puzzles. And I also liked to read books.
Okay.
So, a couple of years ago, I came across one of my first grade teachers' report card.
Oh, your report card.
My report card.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I looked at it and I told my husband, your dad.
My dad.
I said, can you believe this teacher wrote this about me?
Well, what'd she write?
He said, what did she write?
Yeah.
That's what she said. And I said, she said, all Carolyn wants to do is read and work puzzles.
Yes, I can see that.
And your dad's comment was, nothing's changed.
Yeah, he's not wrong. She wasn't wrong.
I did like learning though, but
What,
I wasn't. When I got to second grade,
Yeah.
it was a split grade. It had second and third in there, so the teacher put the second grade work on one board, the third grade work on the other board.
They used to do that?
So
Like, that was in one classroom. They used to do that.
One classroom, and so I did the second grade work, and I did the third grade work. So at the end of the year, she's told my mother, the teacher, said, Carolyn needs to go to the 4th grade. She's done all the work that I had for her.
Oh.
And we didn't know much about skipping grades back then, how they affect you
Socially and
Socially, they do. I was always a little more immature than socially than
You
most of them.
immature? No.
Yes.
No.
Anyway,
What elementary school? Do you remember the name of it?
Jefferson Street.
And it was on Jefferson Street, I'm guessing?
Yes, and it's gone now.
It's gone?
Yes.
Do you know what's there now?
Yes, a community, a subdivision
Okay.
in Chattanooga.
Well, at least it's not a Walmart.
The middle school I attended is no longer there.
What was that one?
It was Eastside Junior High.
Okay.
Then I went to Central High.
Which is
that school
still there.
It's still open, but it's in a new location. So the old school.
Where was it
out.
when you were there?
When I was there, it's on. Oh my goodness. Near the tunnels that you go under the ridge.
Yeah,
it
not
was
near
on this side.
Not near Erlanger, but
not that far.
Not that far in. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had to ride a city bus to school.
So you didn't have? Did they not have school buses?
Not for us that lived in the city, but I was at least 5 or 6 miles away, and so I got tokens.
Okay.
I also rode in junior high school.
Okay, so you rode the
Buses.
city bus.
City
How
bus.
was that? I can't believe Gann let you get on the city buses.
That was the only way we could go to get to school for a long time. When after we were small, we had no car.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any. We walked to elementary school, and we could not. That's be the only way we could get to school. It was through the buses, but we had special tokens that made it cheap on us.
Okay.
So it wasn't that bad. But I told myself at that time, when I get to be an adult and have a job, I'm getting a car for sure.
You also made sure your kid didn't ride the bus. I just want to point that out.
Okay.
Instead, I got to walk to school like you did when you were little.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, not about me. So you went to Central.
Uh-huh.
Did y'all have a prom?
We did.
Tell me about your prom.
I went with a friend.
Okay.
He was just a guy that, his name was Jimmy. Can't remember his last name right now.
Well, Jimmy's not important.
But Jimmy, we just went and had a ball.
Do you remember what your dress looked like?
Oh, had so many crinolines under it.
So it stood out.
It stood out.
And it would have caught fire. Got it?
It was what was popular at the time, and it was held at the Reed House, the old
The hotel?
downtown.
Yeah. I know where you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the really nice. It's a hotel now.
Very nice.
They're really, really
and
nice.
it had a
yeah.
ballroom, so that's where it was. And we've had
Okay.
our 100th. That's not right.
Wow, Mom, you're
Our
not that old.
50th
Class reunion?
class reunion there.
Okay. Yeah, the mowers are going by. It's fine. So what's your memories of high school? Because I know when you went to high school, it wasn't like when I went to high school. And you went in Chattanooga and I went in Nashville. So tell me something that was popular when you were in high school. What was popular? What was there to do in Chattanooga when you were in high school? What was popular?
Oh, what was popular? I think it was the beginning of the drive-in not theaters, but restaurants. You could go, and it was popular. And there was one particular popular restaurant that was in East Ridge, which was just right next to Chattanooga's city.
Yeah.
And East Ridge had a popular one that we all had to drive through if we went out, no matter what day it was or what time.
You had to be seen
You had
there.
to make a round.
Okay.
And you were okay.
And do you remember anything about this place?
Hamburgers, same thing you get now.
It wasn't a Crystal's, was it?
No, it wasn't. And hamburgers were probably just a few years old in popularity.
Oh, really? Okay.
So we thought Crystals were wonderful.
Now, you remember when Crystal's opened, don't you?
I do.
Tell me about it.
My Mother took us downtown. We walked and to shop.
Yeah.
And we would go buy crystals, pick up a bunch of those hamburgers, and
Do you remember how much they were?
I'm sure there wasn't more than a nickel.
Okay.
I mean, when they first started, it was very reasonable. So we loved doing that.
Okay.
That was a tradition. If she could afford it, we had crystal hamburgers.
And you remember
shopping.
when that opened?
I do.
Do you remember where it was?
Yes.
Where was it?
It was downtown.
Okay.
Let's see. It seemed like it wasn't too far from the library now.
Okay.
I just remember it being on a side street, and we managed.
You could walk up to it.
Now, we did ride the city bus sometimes when we went downtown.
Now, which part of downtown are you talking about?
Where the Reed House is, and all of the...
Because I know, like...
restaurants and
like
stuff.
where the aquarium is. Like Broad Street, Market Street. And, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you're talking about that.
And it was really a safe place to...
It's not anymore.
It's you have to watch now.
Yeah,
in the areas where
you go a couple blocks past the aquarium and it gets a little shady. Okay, so that was what you did. You took the bus everywhere, right? Took the school bus.
Now I had a friend. She and I walked to the library on Saturdays.
Okay.
Our junior high.
Okay.
And we also, if we could, go to see an Elvis movie while we were
of course
downtown.
Do you remember your favorite?
Tivoli.
What's your favorite Elvis movie?
Oh,
he's from
I think
Tennessee.
It's the Hawaii.
Blue Hawaii.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder you wanted that for my wedding song. Okay. All right. Now I understand. So
you chose it, and I put my stamp of approval on it.
Okay. So you would go and see Elvis movies. Was there any other movie stars that were big at the time that you guys fell in love with or liked or had crushes on?
It was like at the end of the era for the famous.
So like James Dean and...
James Dean, we saw a few of his movies, but I don't remember.
Did you ever go see any of the good westerns? Like, I can't even think of any right now, but you know what I mean. Magnificent Seven. Did you ever see any movies like that in the theaters? No?
No, we saved our movies for the popular
just
musical,
Elvis
and all that.
Okay. What musical? Do you remember any other musicals?
Yes, I think the first movie I saw was a musical.
Okay.
I think we went, it might have been...
was Gone with the Wind before or after you? You know?
I saw that much later.
Okay.
But it was a rerun.
Okay. But that's when you had intermissions in movies, right?
Yes.
And they were... Tell me about that. I've never been to a movie with an intermission.
Well, you sit there, so you really get tired of sitting, and so you have a certain amount of time. You get up and you go get your popcorn and
which was
Coke.
what, like 10 cents?
It was. I think getting the movie was a dime.
And now it's $20. That's insane. That was what do you know about what year this was? Without telling your age?
Well, I think they probably figured out by now.
Okay. Well.
But I was probably 13 or 14.
Okay, so we're talking 19... Okay, all right, I got it. I'm not going to say it, but I got it.
You know how old
I do know how old you are. That's why I said, okay, it's about 19 so-and-so.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then in high school, was that still the popular thing to do? Go through the drive-ins and the movies?
I somehow fell into the mold that my big sister had done things when she was in high school. So she was what they call an usher.
Okay.
So the teachers, as soon as I came, they expect me to be the ideal.
Can you explain what an usher is?
An usher was, they had stairs cases, and you've heard about the upstairs one way to go up and another way to go down. And this high school was so large, huge, that the ushers, would leave class about 5 minutes early and go to their position.
Okay.
Also, my sister.
So you were a hall monitor.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you were a hall monitor. Okay. I just want to make sure.
I just did enough to keep my job.
You got it. I gotcha.
I like to give people a break every now and then and get them down quickly. So that I didn't get any trouble or anything. But
Okay.
I was in the drill squad because my sister was. And
Okay.
that actually was fun.
All right.
We went to all the football games and we did something on the field, like in lines.
Did you have like the flags and stuff?
I didn't, but the leader.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
It was a drill team.
Okay.
So we always did that during
What was
halftime.
what was your high school colors?
It was gold and purple.
Okay. All right.
Same thing as my college.
Yeah, okay, so where'd you go to college?
Well, I started at UTC.
Okay.
It was UC at the time, just
Okay.
Chattanooga. And I worked in a dentist's office and then took my classes at night because I really didn't know if I was going to be, my parents could actually send me to college.
Yeah.
Well, after I had taken several courses, my dad said, "We've got the money. We'll give you so much money each quarter, and it's up to you to budget that." So I went 3 years and a summer, 2 summers, and had enough for every class except one summer. And what I did was I had enough to pay the tuition, but not for food every day. So I took a job in the cafeteria.
Okay.
And I spooned up lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
And every meal I worked, I got to eat my.
So you got to eat
free.
2 to 3 meals a day.
And of course, some of my friends would come along and say, would you get so-and-so on my plate so when you come through?
Yeah.
Because I got free food, and especially the football players, they liked watermelon.
Oh, okay.
Could you get me an extra piece of watermelon?
Now, this was at Tennessee Tech?
Yes.
Okay.
Tennessee Tech.
And what was popular during your college? What did y'all do on days you weren't in school or weekends? What was popular to do?
Well, there wasn't much to do there.
Which is funny because now Cookeville's massive.
We have one restaurant.
Okay.
And a bowling alley.
Okay.
But what I learned was there's so many things to do around that area.
Like what?
I was dating a guy that he was a spelunker.
I can't see you doing that.
I loved caves.
Okay, all right.
So he would show me every cave there is in Middle Tennessee.
Okay.
Around Tennessee Tech, and it was fun.
Okay.
We in the dorm.
Yeah.
I was a part of a bridge game that went continuously, 24 hours.
So
one would leave to go to class, somebody would take their place.
Okay.
In.
And this is in your dorm hall?
It's in usually my room.
Oh, Lord. I kick people out at some point. I need sleep. All right. So that's fun. I mean, that kept y'all something to do, right? What else was popular? Like, what did you have to wear? Because I know they wouldn't let you wear pants, would they?
No, they would.
So what'd you have to wear?
We had to wear a dress, and the thing that bothered me the most about that era was they locked the doors in the dorm at night, locked us in. And I'd never been locked in.
Well, what happens if you have a fire?
Well, there's certain things that they had to.
I'm just saying, what if there was a fire? That sounds so horrible.
Well, and there were 3 floors.
That just doesn't seem
so
safe. So other than so adjusting to dorm life, what was your biggest adjustment?
Oh, right off it when I first went. I loved it from the first moment.
Well, you had your own bed, didn't you?
Huh?
You had your own bed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was different because there were, people who weren't exactly like me.
You? Yeah.
So.
Now, you were in college, would you say the hippie era?
Yeah, maybe, yes.
Okay, and how do you feel that affected your campus? Like, did that make people, obviously it made people change, and this is the South, so how much did it make people change? Like, did more people become open-minded in Tennessee, or closed-minded, or it didn't really do anything?
Well, at the school, Tennessee Tech at the time had two popular courses.
Okay.
One was engineering and one was education.
And you were in education?
I was in education, but both of those are pretty serious choices.
Yeah.
So there weren't many
frivolous
activities that every now and then the guys would come over and after the dorm was locked and holler at us through the windows.
Oh wow!
Like they're gonna come and
they didn't live a lot apparently.
So it was not. No drugs that I know of that wasn't
that you know of
that I know of
that you know of.
There was it was a dry county, but
it's not anymore.
Obviously, these citizens there, and going to college know where to get the beer.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, so that was in Cookeville. Do you miss living in Cookeville ever, or you?
I've still got a friend that she and I keep up with. We try to keep up with the ones that were close to us.
Yeah.
So it was a time where I made probably more bad decisions than good.
I understand that.
I just was free to do it.
Yeah, I understand
so, as any young person, you want to do things just to see what it's like.
Yeah, you got to experiment. Okay, now, you went back to Chattanooga after?
After I graduated from college, I went back to Chattanooga.
Now, how did Chattanooga change from the time you left in high school to when you went back?
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, how much did it change?
It got serious.
What do you mean it got serious?
After it's like just happy time in college for me.
Okay.
I could have done better
that's okay.
Educationally. But and this is where, after you're out of college, you think, oh no.
What do I do?
Now I've got to work.
Okay, but now...
And...
was finding so you were a woman in the hippie times. Was it harder for you to find certain jobs? Because we're talking, before a lot of freedoms and before a lot of things, and things are changing during these eras. Yeah. Was it hard for you to find a job in Chattanooga as a woman?
It wasn't hard for me to find a teacher's position. Okay. They were hurting, and North Georgia's where I started, just across the line. Yeah. But it wasn't too long before we were allowed to wear pants to teach in.
Now, do you remember what year that was?
1966.
So 1966, women could officially have professional pants.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, because now my dress code at work is pants. You're allowed to wear skirts, but it is pants. That's insane. All right, and you said that they were hurting for teachers.
Yes.
Was there a lot of changes going on in the education system in Tennessee back then?
Yes. They started what was called the new math.
Okay, what was that?
It was where they started it's just the vocabulary. They start talking about sets. Okay. And different ways to do mathematical.
Okay, I gotcha. How you teach it. Okay, so here's another question. So you went to Cookeville, you came back to Chattanooga. We're talking the hippie era, so there's a lot of other changes going on in the U.S. How do you feel that those times changed Chattanooga? Like, you've told me stories growing up. How do you feel that those changed Chattanooga?
Well, actually, when I was very young, we didn't have a TV.
Okay.
It was just becoming available and popular when I was about, I think, 10.
Okay.
Something like that.
Black and white?
So there wasn't, yes, and there wasn't a lot of consideration of prejudice or racism or something that they were like a program called Amos and Andy.
Okay. Oh, okay. I get what you're going.
And
okay.
so it was a true southern city that they were dealing with civil rights for African Americans.
And you saw these civil rights movements in Chattanooga. How old were you when you really saw one?
Well, when I was really young, I barely remember this, but at the department store they had 2 water fountains.
Yeah.
With a sign over one that said white and with the colored, and it would bother me because why couldn't I drink out the colored one? You know?
Yeah. Why couldn't it be the
anyway,
same? Okay.
When I went to work at the dentist's office as a receptionist,
this is your first few months in college.
it was close to Woolworths.
Okay.
And the first sit-in that I remember was right then at lunchtime. They black people came in and sat down, and as far as I know, weren't served.
Now,
and that bothered me.
Do you remember seeing them sitting there?
Yes.
Were they doing anything, or were they just sitting there?
They were just sitting there, and so I didn't stay because I felt like I probably shouldn't be there.
Okay.
In case there was trouble. I did give a lady when I was in junior high school. I got on the city bus to go to school, and at that time, people my age gave adults their seat.
Right. You got up and you let a kid. Yeah.
So I gave this lady my seat, and I was holding on, and the lady that sat next to her got up immediately, and she stood up, and she didn't get off the bus till several more blocks, and I thought, well, why did she do that? She could have. Why did she get up early when that woman sat down?
Yeah.
It didn't dawn on me that the woman was black.
You just saw that the lady was there and you needed to give her your seat.
She was a lady, and I gave her a seat on the bus. And later, it took me a while to figure out what really happened, but I did. And so I thought, I'm not going to enjoy this part of but Chattanooga, it was a typical southern
Okay. All right.
city.
So you saw and heard things you didn't want to hear or see. I gotcha. Okay. Do you feel that Chattanooga has grown from that?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely made great strides.
Now, was your class integrated?
No, it wasn't.
So your class was completely white?
Oh, at
high school.
Class,
at high school, yeah.
No blacks.
No blacks. Wow. I didn't know that.
And there were about, I think 450 people in my senior class.
Did they have their own high school? Did they have their own school? You don't?
They had 10th, 11th, and 12th.
That's it. Okay. All right.
It was a big school.
Yeah. Okay. That's crazy. I didn't know that for some reason.
It was the only county school. The city high school was the other one. So there were just 2.
Was the city high school integrated, do you know? No?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Do you know where the black people went to school? Did they have their own?
I believe they did.
They did? Okay. I was just curious. That's okay. All right.
But they've made more strides. We've had good leadership.
Okay.
To be sure that's taken care of, and
I didn't realize that. I thought for some reason when you graduated, it was already integrated. I didn't realize that it wasn't.
Nope.
That's insane.
It was not. Now, that didn't mean that they had a poor setting, a poor
No, yeah, I just
school.
thought that for some reason that they were already in your high school.
I cannot remember the name of the school, but
they did have
there.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you lived in downtown Chattanooga, and then you moved outside of downtown Chattanooga, so you got to see Chattanooga grow.
Oh, yeah.
So the part, because I know where Gann used to live,
Uh-huh.
and so that was all fields at one point. Like I-24 didn't go past her house.
There was no I-24.
Okay, when did I-24 come into?
It came in just as I was getting my driver's license, and we used the strip to do a little drag racing.
What? No, not in your Ford.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
I had a 57 Ford.
Wow. All right, so
It was cool.
You remember, did 75 come first or 24? Do you remember?
I think 75 came first.
Okay.
Because during that time, now, when we moved into that house, I was 14.
You're talking about the one on...
That's outside of Chattanooga.
Brainerd?
Just a suburb. It's in Brainerd.
Brainerd, yeah.
Well, I took all the chill kids in
Yeah.
the neighborhood.
Yeah.
We made a picnic lunch, and we went to the creek.
What it's named for.
So there's a creek. There was a creek there where the interstate is.
So now it's 24.
Yes.
That's insane.
And there's no shopping center, Eastgate.
Now, when did that come in? When did the mall get built behind?
It was after I graduated college, I think.
Okay. No, I was just curious.
It wasn't.
Because you saw that area get built up.
I did.
Yeah.
And it just kept getting, and now it's hard to find a place because Chattanooga is in between two mountains.
Yes.
And it's down here.
It's in the valley.
Not much.
You're not
room
moving
to
much.
grow.
Yeah. Now what? So you lived in Chattanooga. You lived in between the two mountains. Did you ever explore any of its history, like Civil War or anything like that?
It's strange when you live close to something like we did. You take it for granted.
Yeah.
You don't look at it and study it very long because it's
your backyard.
It's just where you live.
So did they? Now I know we had them when you were in school. Did you guys go on field trips?
The only thing I remember doing in elementary school was we went downtown and sang songs or something in the choir.
No, I didn't know if you guys, because I'm thinking, because you're in Lookout Mountain and Signal Mountain, did you ever go explore them for school?
When I started teaching,
okay,
then in North Georgia,
yeah,
we went on a lot of. We even went to Atlanta on school bus.
Oh wow!
To see the museum there or something.
Okay, but you did. So you did study some of the history.
We did a lot of those. We went on. To the Chickamauga Dam that's there.
Yep.
And let the kids see that.
Yeah. You've taken me there and up the incline and no, I just didn't know. Do you you saw Chattanooga change, you saw Chattanooga grow. Do you remember any big events in Chattanooga? Like anybody coming to concert, anything like new coming to town? Okay, it's a southern town. Did you see any huge tent revivals?
Tent revivals,
okay.
Yes.
All right.
Tent revivals were in. Billy Graham was very popular for these tent revivals. And one that came closest, well, every time one came to town of Billy Graham.
Oh, I could see Gann being the first in line.
My mother packed us a lunch.
Yeah.
And we went to get a good seat.
Now, what was a tent revival like? Because I've never been to one.
It was, I hate to say it, but it was a lot of, Billy Graham didn't do a lot of Hellfire and Damnation, but others, tent revival pastors did.
So it's
kind of serious over our heads as children.
So did you sit on the ground or did you sit on pews or
They had,
hay bales? Like, I don't know.
They had straw
Okay.
to walk on, but we sat on benches.
Chairs? Okay.
Benches.
Now, all I'm picturing for hellfire and damnation is the preachers who scream at you. I'm sorry. So they actually did tent revivals like that.
They did
insane.
Churches like that.
Did they really?
See, today, you rarely hear a pastor mention hell.
No, they don't. So tell me about your church growing up. What do you remember of it?
Oh, I was there every time the door opened.
You don't say.
My parents, I couldn't even go on a date unless I went to church first. I could.
You did. You've done that to me. Nope, you did that to me one time.
You're welcome.
Yeah, actually, thank you, because he wasn't that fun. So I'm glad we went to church, because then we didn't go anywhere. So what was it like? Was it hellfire and damnation? Was it,
Well, first, because of those, you have a lot of children that just go, want to be saved, but don't understand.
They're scared.
They're scared.
Yeah.
It's frightening.
Okay.
So I was one of those. We had we had one that was in our church that was, his reputation was, we're pretty serious over kids' heads. So anyway,
that's horrible that you're gonna.
When I was 15, I went to. I don't know if I've ever told you this or not.
Okay, tell me now.
To a Angel Martinez tents.
No idea who that is, but sounds awesome.
He was a evangelistic pastor, but I was 15. My mother made me go with her to youth night.
That doesn't surprise me.
Now, she didn't have my older sister or my younger sister, me.
So you're the troublemaker.
So I go with her, and I thought, I'm going to go along with whatever, and maybe she will not be bothering me to come to these anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I was respectful of my parents. I didn't always, agree with them, but I was very respectful, very. And I'm glad I was. They told me to do something, I did it, but
I always did it. I just told you how it felt.
Anyway, I was like my mother said when I became an adult, we were talking, she said, I knew when I told you to sit down, you were standing up on the inside. And I said, well, how did you know that? And she said, mothers know.
That's probably true.
And that night I went to, and I stood up and with the other youth, and I thought, she's not going to make me do this anymore. So I go back home, and God made sure I did sleep until I asked Him to save me from my sins.
So the tent revivals,
it was all new stuff now.
Tent revivals work.
Yeah,
because you don't see revivals anymore. Even when I was little, growing up in Nashville, you used to take me to revivals. You don't see them anymore.
Here in Maryville,
yeah,
they have combined revival services with other churches.
Okay,
and so they invite speakers, and you go to a different church every night of the revival.
I guess that's different. That's kind of cool.
But like we had before,
no, I remember
tent revivals. No,
I remember growing up in Nashville, Donaldson. First Baptist Donaldson, revival. Some preacher would come from who knows where, and you'd hear him all week.
Yeah.
Even in Mount Juliet, all week. And I want to say that stopped before about the time I was in high school.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
You're right.
Yeah. All right, so you grew up in Chattanooga. You did all that. You went to church. Because I only have so long I can talk on this one, so I'm going to have you back on again later. What's your favorite memory of growing up in Chattanooga when you were little? Favorite memory?
My favorite memory is our front porch swing.
Okay, what about it?
we didn't have a lot of entertainment with because there was no TV.
Yeah.
And if there was TV, it wasn't anything for kids to watch, like boxing. My dad watched boxing.
Okay.
And so we would get in that swing, and it became whatever we wanted to become. We would sit on the porch and listen to stories our aunts would tell us that would just
Floor you.
unbelievable. Did I tell you about my pet chicken?
I've heard of Chick Chick. Poor Chick Chick.
Well,
Tell them about Chick Chick.
okay. I don't even remember. I was a preschooler. I had to be 3 or 4, but this chicken was my pet. And I put him in my lap, and I got my ABC book, which I already knew my ABCs at that age anyway, but I was going through the book with Chick Chick in my lap, and as I'd say, A is for apple or whatever, he would peck the book. Right, and I thought he was so smart. He knows his ABCs too. But anyway, that was a early pet
What
thing.
happened to Chick Chick? You have to finish the story of Chick Chick. You got it. You can't leave him hanging. What happened to Chick Chick?
I didn't know it at the time, but we were going on a vacation, and my mother was almost positive that Chick Chick would not be there when we got back because he was free. I mean, we didn't keep him in a cage or anything. So she cooked him for our lunch on the way to the...
I'm sorry. Now, could she
I didn't know it. I was eating
Did
Chick.
Did she eat Chick Chick?
She couldn't.
I wonder why.
And my aunt was with us.
And
she could not eat it either. And it's probably her idea to kill Chick Chick and take him on this.
Oh, poor
But
Chick
anyway,
Chick. Chick Chick went on vacation with you.
I have forgiven them both.
I hope so. It's been a while.
Yeah.
All right. So that was your favorite memory in Chattanooga. Thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing your stories. I'll have you on again, and we'll talk about after college, moving forward through Chattanooga, and when you moved to other parts of the state. So I appreciate you being on here. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who listens, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.